all right, guys. So I'm standing. This is where the mayor, our mayor, all right, of New York City, the new mayor of New York City, Mamdani. That's where he's at. All right. Tax the rich. Tax the rich. Tax the rich. Tax the rich. Now I think we have heard for quite some time, tax the rich, tax the rich. I know President Trump took offense to tax the rich. I know a few leaders took offense to tax the rich. And I heard President Trump saying that he opposed the fact that Mamdani or the state of New York is taxing the rich. As much as I'm a big fan of President Trump, when it comes to taxing the rich, I agree with taxing the rich. And I think Mamdani did one of the greatest, to be honest. I don't think it's even taxing the rich, but he created where the cutoff line is 5 million or more, and then you get taxed as a rich on your property or wherever you got in New York City. Tax the rich. Now, there were mayors who tried to pass that. It did not go through. I know Blasio, well, the former mayor was trying to pass that, tax the rich. And for some reason, it did not go through. I heard former Mayor Blasio saying that he tried to attempt doing that. And Cuomo at the time, the Governor Cuomo at the time, refused to tax the rich. So, yeah. Now, Mamdani and the current governor, Kathy Hochul, finally, collectively, decided to pass tax the rich. Now, like President Trump said this morning, he commented on Mamdani, and he was upset, and he made a statement against Mamdani for taxing the rich in New York City. Now, if you got a property or if you make more than 5 million in New York City, this man right here who runs the city now, where I'm standing, Mamdani, you are taxed. You get taxed. Now, he stated that taxing the rich, the revenue from what will be generated after they tax the rich in New York City, the revenue will be used to fund what he created in the state the first time in less than a year. Mamdani, the first time in less than a year, created child-free education in the state. Child-free education in the state. In his first 100 days in office, Mamdani. And he stated the tax the rich. He estimated that every year it will gross about 500 million every year, and that money, some of it will go to free child care and free education here for younger kids here in New York City. Now, if you've never been here, I'm standing from here over there is the City Hall. That's where Mamdani is. Now, tax the rich has always been suppressed. It's been suppressed. Because nobody want to, let me see the comment here. Where are you? Oh, where are you? In Haitian, no. I'm standing here in front of City Hall, where Mamdani is. I'm standing in front of this City Hall. So also now, watch this now. That City Hall right there, I can go in that City Hall. So I'm not talking about something that I cannot go in, all right? So I'm just giving you a breakdown of some of the most recent development in the state, all right? If you guys knew, or if you guys heard, or you can Google tax the rich. That will finally pass in this state for the first time by the mayor and the governor. They both agree to pass this tax the rich. Now, I was surprised to know that the revenue tax the rich generated in New York City, it is outrageous. 500 million every year. That is what being generated by the rich in the city. 500 million. And The revenue from that tax the rich will be used to fund other programs in the state. Now, in order to be taxed in the state or considered as the rich in the state, your asset or your earning has to be 5 million or more. So if you do you not realize that you are supporting the racism? What do you mean he is supporting racism? Exactly. What do you mean I'm supporting racism? See you guys just go all left field. When I'm trying to give you guys current breakdown, I was just in there. All right? See, I always tell you guys again, wherever I stand as a journalist, I can go in there and get the information and come out here and give you guys current information. What I'm telling you now, if you Google that right now, it took place. It's the most current. So I am not one of these YouTubers or one of these TikTokers who just stand on the entrance and tell y'all what's going on inside. No, I'm the one who will go inside and come from inside, come outside and tell you what's going on in the inside. Real talk. You gotta follow me, guys. Make sure you follow me, because what I'm telling you is what I gather from the inside to come outside and tell you. But anyway, so Mamdani, which I love, to be honest. I'm a big Mamdani guy, hands down. I love Mamdani. I love the current governor, Kathy Hochul, not Kofu, but Hochul. Both of these two people are my favorite, to be honest. You know what I mean? And you know, obviously I love Trump. You know what I mean? So you know how that goes. But tax the rich. I can recall in the city, Blasio attempted a couple times to tax the rich to cover other expense in the state that were denied by what's the name? Governor Cuomo at the time. He denied Blasio from granting tax the rich. All right, so now tax the rich have been agreed upon by Mamdani and the current Kathy Hochul. So if you make anything supersedes 5 million, you will be taxed in New York City. You are considered as the rich. Anything more than 5 million, any asset more than 5 million is considered the rich, and you will be taxed. Anything less than 5 million in the state of New York City, you are not considered as the rich, so you won't be taxed. All right? Now, how much does that tax the rich generate in this state every year? Imagine 500 million. And just imagine the rich in New York City were not taxed in New York City. So imagine the rich kept getting rich when there are other programs in the city that needed funding but cannot be funded or could not be funded because the rich were not taxed. So I'm excited, to be honest. I'm excited. You know what I mean? That the mayor and the governor, Mamdani and Hochul, agreed with this major adjustment economically, and not only just economically, but there are programs in the state that needs funding, and the only way these programs can be funded by taxing the rich. Now let me go into the comment here and see what you guys got to say here. Somebody said Colgate. You know what? I take that. Colgate. I take that. You know what? I take that. Somebody said high gas prices. Moron. All right. I love that hat, bro. Who says that? The Black for sure. Thank you, bro. Love that hat. Okay, guys. All right. I'm gonna just read a little bit comment here and then get back on my recap here. All right, guys. So from inside, all right. You guys know I don't give you guys news from the outside. I'm not a YouTuber or a TikToker who just stand outside and tell you what they heard. No, I'm telling you what I was in there and what was decreed in there. All right. I got this pass to go in there. So while you're listening to me, follow me. All right. Follow me, hit that like button, hit that follow button, guys, and follow me. Now, it was difficult because you guys know that when Mamdani got in the office, in January or so, he was, let me use the right word. Mamdani got in the office with a debt of 5.4 billion. That's what he had as a debt. Now, from what he stated, those debt was accrued from Mayor Eric Adams, right? So when he got here, he already had debt up front. Now, you guys who heard free buses here and free buses there, and you guys said, oh, when's that going to happen? It's never going to happen. Well, when you come into office with $5.4 billion in debt, there's a greater possibility that those programs will be held until the debt are consumed, right? So right now, Mamdani is dealing with that $4.5 billion debt that will propel what he stated in New York City: free buses here, free health care here. But when you get into office with that bill, with that debt hanging over your head, it's kind of hard to really proceed with the good dreams or with the intent of what he said he's going to execute. But this is one thing Mamdani executed from this place right here that no mayor has done. None. All right? None has done. He came in here in less than 100 days, free child care. I don't know what state you're in. Free child care is not quite often in many states. It is in New York City now. Free child care. At a certain age, I think from pre to about 3 years old, free child care. So it means that mothers, fathers, parents, people in the state who cannot work a certain length of time will have their kids at a place that is qualified enough to take care of the kids and raise their kid while they go to work and make sure the city is the way it needs to be. Who did that in less than 100 days? Mamdani. All right? No mayor has done that. And the most interesting thing is that this man is doing that with a debt of $5.4 billion. Debt. All right? Now, also, let me highlight some of the achievements here, right? In less than 100 days, potholes in the city. You know, most of you guys who come here, you're tourists, so you don't really see the worst part of the city. You don't see it. You come to Times Square and you recreate and you go to some of the fabulous restaurants or some of these major events. You don't see the city, so you don't see what we see. 1,000 plus potholes, 1,000 or 10,000 more potholes has been fixed in New York City underneath this guy, Mamdani. So I love Mamdani. All right, he's a man of his words. He says something, he followed through. And also another success I'm gonna add on for you guys who are not in New York City. Our delivery in New York City, delivery is a major source for New Yorkers here. We are rich. Let me use the word, we are rich. We are rich, we got money, we don't have time to leave our offices. So we depend on delivery drivers to deliver food at our offices so we can get food to eat and work. Now, if you understand, the temperature in this state has been horrible for the past few years. Almost 20 degrees, 18 degrees, 16 degrees, cold. And these delivery guys gotta find a way to navigate the cold to get the food to the rich or to the working class people in the city. So this is what Mamdani did. And like I said again, I did a coverage on that on YouTube, and I think I posted that on TikTok as well. He built a station. That's amazing, man. He built a station where every delivery drivers in the city can get warm while they await their next order. There were nowhere in the city that had that comfort. Now, let me do a little backdrop here, right? Before he established that, I want you to have a graphic description of what I'm about to say. Just imagine you are working underneath or 10 degrees or more or less than that. For hours, you will freeze. So these guys got to stay in the cold because they can go nowhere else. And this man, Mamdani, or immigrant, let me say it again, all right? An immigrant who understands the struggles in New York City. Say, hold on a second, man. I was in the office when you guys would come through and drop food off. So when I become a mayor, I'm gonna have to make sure I create a warm, safe place for you guys to sit and warm up before the next order comes in. I was just wondering in my mind why nobody else thought about that. Why nobody else thought about that? Why this guy got to come in the office and think about that? He built that just right opposite City Hall. This is City Hall, right? This is where he's at. Right opposite City Hall. That is where that construction is. Now, not only did he build a spot to keep these people warm, he also built a charging station. How amazing that is. You're not only going to be warmed, but you will be able to recharge your batteries as you wait your next order. What is that doing for New Yorkers at work? It means that you who work in New York City, you don't have to worry about your food being late or your food coming cold. Instead, you got guys in the heater who are getting warm, and once that order hits, they can get on the bike, get that order, and get the order to your office while your food is still hot. That's smart, man. That's genius. You gotta love Mamdani, man. That's genius right there. That's genius, man. That's genius, because I understand in the city how food, with the bad weather, if you guys are not getting warm, there's a greater possibility they may not pick up the order. So it means that if you're in that office working all day and you can't get out to get food to eat because it's cold, you know what I mean? When the food gets to you, it might be pretty like cold as hell. But smart, that's genius. So in New York City, every scooter, bikers, delivery guys, it doesn't matter whether you work for Uber Eats, Gerber, or wherever you work for, you are entitled to go over there and sit there and warm up when it gets cold, extremely cold. It does get cold in New York City, I ain't gonna lie. We had some terrible weather just the past day. Now let me go in the chat and see what some of the positive words will be said for what I just said. That right, they started pressing charges on ICE. Yeah. ICE baby, ice baby. There we go, somebody talking about ICE. What's up, man? Mario, what's going on? Call me Mario. Mamdani is no good. Oh, there we go. Somebody said Mamdani is no good. So tell me why Mamdani is no good. Who kissed you last? Somebody said, who kissed me last? There we go. See, I left the Democrat plantation in 2016. I left the Republican plantation when Trump said Epstein who. Just finish that up for me, guys. I'll let you guys comment. Just finish that up for me. Burn that hat, brother. I'm gonna burn the hat for what? Why must I burn this hat? Don't you want to see America being great? Come on now. See. You are not a true American if you don't want to see America being great. Because if you're a true American, you will understand that you want to see America great. Again, all right? I think I talked about that yesterday, why the word again is so important. You get it. Because this guy's, it's a moron. All right, I'll take that. I'm a moron. That's cool. Okay. A woke brown immigrant. Like just Jesus. Oh, man. Yeah, guys. So I just want to kind of highlight some of the progress that Mamdani has made. But one of the major parts that I really want it to resonate with all of us here is that he and the governor, Hochul, that I've met many of times. As a matter of fact, she is my favorite governor, to be honest. Mamdani is my second favorite governor, to be honest. Blasio is my favorite, and my number one favorite governor in New York City. Mamdani is the second. You know what I mean? Eric Adams the third. That's a big deal for the city, man. That's a big deal for the city. Child care is free. Just imagine if child care is gonna be free, who's gonna fund that? That's what I was thinking when I was in the conference hall when he was talking. I was saying to myself, weeks ago, we trying to have free child care. In my mind, you already came into office with $5.4 billion in debt. Who is gonna fund free child care? Where's that money gonna be generated from? That's me just thinking as a journalist. Where would that money come from to fund that? You know what I mean? You don't even have money in the coffers. You got $5.4 billion in debt. When you took over, that's what you had in debt. Now, this is how genius these two people are. The governor, Kathy Hochul, and Mamdani came up with this unique, combined, strategic plan. Let's tax the rich. We don't have to strain the taxpayers in New York City. We don't have to strain people like me who are not making barely anything at all to overtax me more. Now, let's keep the lower class people the middle class people who trying to get by every day, let's tax the rich. And if you make 5 or more million a year, or if you have an asset more than that, you are considered, you fall underneath that bracket as being the rich class, and you will get taxed. All right, now, I like what he stated. You know how transparent Mamdani is and Governor Hochul. They broke it down where that revenue will go. They didn't just say, oh, we're going to tax the rich and take the money and just get ourselves rich and get rich off of that. They explained to us as journalists where that money will go. That money going to go to free child care. Now, the free child care, like I stated earlier in the meeting when he says that there will be free child care, in my head as a journalist, it can be. You got 5.4 billion in debt, Mamdani. You don't have that money. The matter of fact, you're trying to pressure the governor to tax the rich so you can get some money to be able to cover all your debt. Why would you want to bring in free child care? You don't have that money for that. But in no time, they both came up with that conclusion. Let's tax the rich. And that revenue is 500 million generated every year in New York City. Do you know how many rich people in New York City? Do you know how many rich, wealthy folks we got in New York City? I don't know whether California has the richest than we are, but I would say that this state has the richest people in America, period. The richest, period. You know what I mean? If you guys can contest that, let me know if I'm exaggerating or I'm saying the truth. So you will be taxed here. So if you're in New York City, it doesn't matter whether you live here or not. If you got property here or properties here, over 5 million, you will get taxed. Now, why am I excited on that? I'm excited because I think taxing the rich will definitely solve a lot of problems in the state. I think it would. It would. Taxing the rich would. Besides free child cares, I mean, homelessness in the state is outrageous. You know what I mean? It is outrageous. I mean, you guys who probably in other major states, you can understand, you can relate. You know, if you're in California, you know homelessness is at the sky high. New York City is just the same thing, sky high. Yeah, so I mean, those revenue generated from the rich will be. But here's the point I want to kind of stress on here and add on. As big of a fan I am, a supporter of Trump as I am, this is where he and I kind of default a little bit here. Because he stated when that claim was made, taxing the rich went through, when both Mamdani and Governor Hochul agreed to tax the rich, President Trump said something, trying to demean, trying to belittle, trying to make like Mamdani is not, you know what I mean, that was a wrong decision. You know what I mean? And you know, I understand Trump. I understand Trump. You know, I don't want nobody taxing me. I work hard to make my money. You know what I mean? I'm rich. You know what I mean? Why you taxing me? Because I'm rich. You know what I mean? I understand that. You know what I mean? I'll be offended. You know what I mean? I'm not as these guys are when they got money. I ain't got that billions of dollars like that. But if I were rich and get up in the morning and then see the news that says tax the rich, you know, I mean, I'm not gonna clap my hands and say great job. You know what I mean? No rich individual in New York City who wake up in the morning and get that notification, Mamdani and Kathy Hochul joined together to tax the rich. I mean, normally you expect some resistance, and I think that's what Trump is saying. How fool that is to tax the rich. You know what I mean? How naive that is to tax the rich. I understand that. You know what I mean? But I hope that Trump will kind of get some sleep, and then understand. As great as this city is, there are needs in this city that needs to be met. All right? Let me be honest with y'all, man. I've never been a fan of taxing the rich. Let me be honest, man. Let me be honest, all right? I've never been a fan of taxing the rich. Let me be honest. You know, I'm gonna be very, very honest. I was never a big fan. As much as I love Blasio is my #1 mayor. When he came up with that idea, I back off a little bit because I was never a fan of Blasio saying let's tax the rich. And when Governor Cuomo said, hell no, we're not gonna do it, that's when I became a fan of Governor Cuomo, because I was never a big fan of taxing the rich. Why I wasn't a big fan of taxing the rich? Because folks work hard to be where they are. I'm from a family home where they mount to a certain level of success based on the degree of work they put in. Now, because they work their butt off to get there, why must you tax them? Why must you tax them? That's just my own analysis, right? They work hard for that money. It wasn't just handed out to them. Why must you tax them? But let me go into the little man. Look at the chat. The chat is just bugging. The chat is bugging. I know your breaths. Somebody say your breath. You know what? Some of you guys just don't. Some of you guys just leave some horrible comments. But you know what? I take it. Working class work hard too. All right, let me see who said that. 26. Working class work hard. I agree. They work hard too. I mean, when you say working class, I mean, you don't even gotta say work hard. That's automatic. Working class. That's automatic. Yeah, they do work hard. Giving little bit back, like free, cheap public transportation, free childcare means more people out and about spending money, creating tax. That way, it pays for itself. I love that. Who says that? I love that. That's brilliant. Brilliant. You know what? I didn't see it like that. That's brilliant. So, that's brilliant. You know what? Let me see if I can weave another idea in what you just said. If my child can be stationed at a place that is safe and will take care of my kid, or my kids, let me say, my wife and I can go to work, and not only just work, but after work, go on a date or go do something else, because the child care, according to Mamdani, is 24 hours. So that means that as we make the money, we are able to spend the money. That's smart, right? I love it. Ooh, I love it. That's genius. I love it. That's genius. So that's a way of having the money circulate. So it means that instead of me calling in and say I can't come to work because I don't have childcare. Woo, that's brilliant. I love it. Man, you know what? I'm a genius. I think things through. I love it. Thank you. Someone says, you maybe did not live here before the 80s when we taxed the rich. Oh, okay. See, I wasn't. I love it. Thank you. Thank you for reminding me on that. So for what I'm reading in the chat here, I don't know what you guys are seeing there, but someone said that taxing the rich did existed before in the 80s. See, I didn't know that. I thought it was the first time that it was ever passed. So in the 80s, it was passed where to tax the rich. Amazing. So tell me a little bit more. When that happened, what was life like? Because this is the first time it's been passed in the 20th century now. I want to see if this goes on for the next 4 years, what will life be like in New York City? I really want to see that. And like I said again, I would never a big fan of taxing the rich. Never a big fan. Let me just say again. You know, a lot of people who are poor, I don't want to say poor, but who depend on the city or depend on the state, or a lot of people who never ever understand how rich people get rich, they are very quick to say tax the rich. But you know what? I came up from a home where I knew my father was a medical doctor, a surgeon, top of the line surgeon, one of the greatest surgeons in Africa, period, in the world, period. My dad worked his butt off, traveled from country to country doing surgery on well-known rich people. So he works. My dad comes home for at least about 2 weeks. He sleeps most of the time. Every bit of money that he earned, he worked for it. So I know what rich people do to get their money. Now, so when someone said tax the rich, I take offense because I can relate to what my dad went through. My mother never worked because he make enough for my mother to stay home and take care of us. My mom lived the best life, but my dad worked his butt off. My brothers are today working their butt off, so nothing will hand out. So I know what it's like to be rich, and I know what people go through to be rich. So when it said tax the rich, I take serious offense to it. But now that I'm in New York City, and I'm seeing the need, and being in most of Mamdani meetings, and this man is reading the needs in the city, or what the needs are, my perception has shifted. Do I want to be rich and see other people struggling? No, I understand that I struggle to get my money. But a few cut from me here would not hurt me really, but it would be able to help somebody else. That's just me saying that. So it means that 1 or 2 million from my overall earning a year given to free childcare, I wouldn't get mad at that. Even though that money is mine and should stay with me, but childcare, come on, man. You know what I mean? Homelessness, come on, man. Housing for people who need housing, come on, man. I wouldn't mind a few million be subtracted from me. That changed my perception. And that's when I said, I support Mamdani Hochul on that. Initially, when Blasio brought that up, I was against that because I felt that Blasio was just taking advantage of the rich. Now, today, I understood what President Trump said. He was upset because, yo, hold up, man. You don't know what people go through to make the money. You don't know. You know what I mean? And because people got rich, you know, it wasn't handed out to us. Most rich people just, they work their ass, they work their butt off to get rich, to be honest. Look, man, look, they work to get rich. So, we should not just think that people just got rich overnight. Nah. These people dedicate themselves, their time, their energy, their resources, their livelihood to be where they are. And they deserve every bit of that money. But then when you look at the need compared to few million being subtracted, I was like, you know what? I agree with Mamdani, man. Child care, we need people to go to work who will stay at work and do their job. And few million here for some of the rich here is chicken change. You know what I mean? So when that came through, I was excited on that, and I was just go Mamdani. So now I know one day I'm gonna be a freaking rich man. So I know I wouldn't mind a few million be taken away from me to feed the homeless, child care, take care of the needs in New York City. I wouldn't mind. As a matter of fact, when I'm rich, I'm gonna cut every year. I'm gonna subtract certain million and just donate that to to governments to take care of the needs of people. So for me, that would be a no-brainer. But 5 million, if you make your asset over 5 million and you've been told to pay $250,000 a year, that's chicken change. You know what I mean? I'm just saying that's chicken change to me, because that's money that these guys don't necessarily. I mean, do I say they spend it? They do spend it, but these are money that these guys allow it to replenish itself, replenish. You know what I mean? Where it's like maybe they invested into something else that they would never touch. You know what I mean? So $250,000 a year for anyone rich in New York City, or 5 million to the major needs in the city. Can't get mad at that, man. Just can't. Let me see the chat here. Let me see. Oh, man, the chat is bugging. Guys, follow me. Make sure you guys follow me. Make sure you guys hit that like button, guys. Follow me. I appreciate you guys here on the live. Let me go back in the comment here. If you support Trump, you're too dumb to get rich. Sorry. Oh, you know what, though? That's not true. That's not true. What you guys forget to know, any one of us who wear this hat, make America great, we work hard. We don't believe in handout. We just don't. Anyone who wears this hat, we don't do just handout. We just don't. So that's wrong. You're wrong right there. We work our butt off hard, because the hat right here, it means our heart. So if we go and ask for help, it means that we really need it. Now, so you get it wrong now. Trump worked his butt off. All right, let me be honest. All right, anyone who wears this hat, make America great, we grind. Do you know what grind is? We grind. What I'm doing right now, I'm grinding. Work, we grind. So let's just move forward. So don't have that perception. All right, Trump has never worked in his life. No, that's not true. You see. Now let me say this right here. I think I had the same meeting I had the same meeting one time where someone said Trump had never worked in his life. Now let me tell you this right here. I never worked in my life until I came to America. I worked for my parents. I always believed that because I worked for my dad, I never worked. And my mom told me that's a lie. I did work. Whether it was me doing domestic work at home, I did work. Whether it's cleaning my dad's car, cleaning his shoes, doing his laundry, or running errands, I will pay for those tasks that I did. Now, you would say Trump never worked in his life, where you and I see him physically, but wherever he did home, it was still work. Rich people train their kids in so many different ways that is still equivalent to work. My dad never gave me anything free. Never. I was assigned to keep his car clean, keep his socks arranged, make sure his pants, what was it like? Make sure his pants match his suits. I was responsible to make sure everything my dad needed on the next trip, I had it all done correctly. Every time I did that. That was my full-time freaking job. When my dad come in, I would go and put food on and set the plate on the table to put his food on the table. I would pay for that. That was my job. You call that allowance, but it was my job. That was my job. Every one of us, the only person in the home that never had a job was my little sister. Every one of us had a job in that home. My job is to take care of my father. That was it. That was my job. And I would pay for that. It wasn't free. All the allowances I had, the sneakers, the clothes, the bikes, the ice skating, the roller skate, you name it all, the trips and all that, I would pay for that. Every money in my bank account was earned. I believe Trump worked for his money. You can say, oh, he didn't work the rest of their life. That's a lie. Rich people, it's not like poor people. Poor people send their kids to McDonald's to work because they don't have the money to pay their kids. Rich people don't send their kids to work for other people. Rich people train their kids to work for them. So, when I came to America, that's when I had a job away from my parents. My first job, I'm gonna tell you guys, it was a McDonald's job in New York City when I arrived. I was excited. My first job ever away from my parents. First job, no, not McDonald's, Burger King, right here in Manhattan. I always passed that Burger King. My first job away from my parents. But watch this. Because of the discipline that I had home, taking care of my dad. When I ever got a job, I've always been the best, highest worker, period. I don't quit a job. I don't run away. I don't call in sick. Because my dad's job, I never, ever called in sick. No, because you know what? I had to make sure my dad was ready to go to the next country. He was a surgeon. There was no time to say, oh, Dad, I'm sick. So when I get any job, you never hear me calling in sick. Never. Never calling in sick. And matter of fact, when I go to any other job, I treat it like I would treat my dad's. That's how I see it. So rich folks discipline the kid and teach them in a different way. Let's move forward, man. Let's move forward. You guys out here trying to get me all riled up here and give you guys some of the background or the way I was raised. So again, I'm not spoiled. Let me say again, I'm not spoiled. I never worked for anybody until I came to America. Again, that work ethics is in me. It's in me. I love to work. You would never see me protesting, no job, no 24 hours. Oh, I'll work 24 hours. I don't give a F. I would. So, that's a lie to say rich kids don't work. That's a lie. We just work in different ways. In different ways that you would never see. So I believe Trump works. All right, so let's go. Trump will boot you out so fast. Let me say it right here. Let me say this right here, guys. I'm too much of an American. And when I say I'm too much of an American, my heart is too much of an American. Even if Trump were to ask me to leave from here, it would not be a regret on my part because it means that I paid my dues in this country. I paid my dues. If I go back home, I will still be doing this what I'm doing here. Same thing. The only difference I will have to manage my parents' properties. Now, in America, all I gotta do, go to journalism and talk to y'all. So either way it plays out, but I guarantee you, they can send every other immigrant home across America. I'll be the last to send home. I'll be the last to send home. Trust and believe. But anyway, let's get going. I work harder than you. I own three businesses. I'm left with congrats. If you guys work, congrats. You know what? Look. I'm a big fan of anyone who works. I hate free stuff. I hate free stuff. You know, I'm a skeptic of free stuff. A extreme skeptic. Even if you give me free stuff, I will tell you thank you. I'm very skeptic of free stuff. Very, very skeptic of free stuff. Because Why am I skeptical of free stuff? It kills your drive and your motivation to do better as a human being. It kills it. Don't ever suggest anything of a handout to me. It pisses me off. Now, if I've exhausted every means, and that's the only means that I got, God knows, then I'm going to take that help. But you can leave the free opportunity here. I would never look at that. I would look at my potential and what I can do. If I fail, then I turn around over here. But I don't like free stuff. I've never been a guy who likes free stuff. You know what I mean? Never been. You know what I mean? Let me earn it. Let me work for it. And I'm glad that I was raised like that. My dad never, my dad never just, I'm the junior. My dad never say, let $100 here. What? No, never. And I like that because I earned it. So I was mindful how to spend it. If my dad was just giving it to me, I would be wasteful. Today, I'm very manageable with my money because my dad would pay me when the date is due. I never got nothing free. The only person that got something free was the youngest sister. She has everything for free. None of us. The boys, nah. So, nah, man, come on. But anyway, guys, let's keep it moving here. So yeah, Mamdani came from that same background, immigrant. He understands the struggles. He didn't come from a spoon-fed. Even the governor Hochul, she's an immigrant. I was at the parade that she was at, St. Patrick Parade. I shook her hand multiple times. I met her a couple times. Every time they have the parade, I meet her. Great woman, man. She's amazing. She's my favorite governor. They all came from immigrants' families, so they understand the struggle. So when Mamdani says free buses, he understands. Look, New York City is not an easy state to live in, man. It's not an easy state to live in. I don't know what state you guys in. If you guys in any other state, let me know. What country you're in, let me know. It is not easy to live in New York City. It's not. It is not. Nice hat. Thank you, bro. Thank you. My brother, thank you, man. Nothing. It's not, look, it's not easy to live in New York City. I ain't gonna lie to you, man. You know what I mean? The cost of living is hard. God forgive me for saying it's hard because I hate to use negative words to say it's hard because technically I should be saying it's hard, but I want to be so real and so genuine and be so expressive. I would say it's hard, but the cost of living is hard. The homeless rate here is a sign in itself to let you know it's hard. You got family, you got 5, 7, 8 people living in one apartment, in one room. You got 10 people in one room. You got people scrambling to make ends meet. You got people pretending like they got it and they don't have it. You gotta look like you got it, but you don't have it. You know what I mean? That's what it is. You know what I mean? It's like people trying to just get a meal the next day. You know what I mean? It's New York is not easy. But that's why when you got a mayor who is an immigrant who understands the struggle, if you got a governor who is an immigrant and she understands the struggle, then they can say, you know what? Let meet the needs of the people here. Let's tax the rich. And that's what we are now. I'm a big supporter now of taxing the rich. Before I apologize to Blasio when he brought that idea, because if that would have taken effect then, I think it would have helped the economy then. But taxing the rich right now, I mean? I love Trump to death. That's my guy, man. You know what I mean? But I think that's a good move. Let's go, man, Trump. Yo, Daddy, let's go, Trump. Always, let's go. Let's stop saying let's go, Trump, and let's say let's go, America, right? All right, now when you guys getting live now, you want to shout me out, say let's go, America. All right, let's go, America, not Trump, because Trump is an American. Let's focus on the main thing that matters. It's America, right? Make America great. So let's go, America. That's what we should be saying. Not let's go, Trump. All right? Even though Trump is the man behind it, but let's say let's go, America. So yeah, so pretty much that's it. Look. Let me say something here since we're talking on the struggles and what's going on in the state and tax the rich. I never came from a poor home. I never came from one. So if I'm looking back to the way I raised, and how I was raised in the community I was raised in, because I never knew, I never seen poverty, I never seen people struggle, I never seen it ever in my life. I have people wash my clothes, iron my clothes, did stuff for me, so I never got to see poverty. Even though my parents had tried a couple times to take us to like I know my dad was part of this organization where we would go and feed homeless people, but I could not process it because my dad didn't have the time to explain to me. We would go there, I would see people looking like they don't have it, like they're struggling, but I couldn't tell that they were struggling. We would just go there, stand next to my dad, my mom, and we'd feed the people. I would talk to them, we'd laugh. But I think they were teaching me, they were showing me something that I did not pick up then. I didn't pick that up, that people were struggling, but I didn't know it then. But when I came to America, that's when I really understood the struggle is real, that people are struggling. That's when my passion, I don't want to say elevated, but it also made me to appreciate my parents, but appreciate how our race came from that background. Now I can look at life at a different scale and say, poverty, success. If you're rich, cut some of your money and give it to the poor. Now I can understand that now, because now I'm at a place where I can see both balance. I think that's where Governor Mayor Mamdani and Governor Hochul are right now. Let's balance things out. There are more people struggling in New York City compared to those who got it, and that's a realistic fact. I'm not making this up. There are more people struggling. So, and this is my fear, and be honest, all right? And I'm just gonna throw that in there. When you don't cater to the needs of the people in the city that's struggling, what automatically that eventually happens? Robbery starts to happen, and I'm seeing it in the city. Not only robbery, aggression starts to take place in the city. You don't want that, because when folks cannot do for themselves, they will attack those who are. Let me be honest now. Let me just lay that out very clear. If the poverty rate in a big city like New York City just keep going up, and folks cannot make an honest living, they would attack those who go to work and make money. They would attack the successful and the rich people. It means the crime rate gonna escalate, and that's what you don't want it to be. So, what we were gonna do, and when I say we, that's Mamdani and other people, let's try to create a little bit of leverage that tax the rich to cut back on the chaos. All right? We don't want robbery. We don't want violence. We don't want aggression. You rich, do you want that? No. You don't want that? No. So give a portion of your money that meet the needs. Simple. I think to me I'm just trying to put that two together. You rich? Poor. Do you want to be robbed? No. Do you want your house burned down? Do you want to be attacked? No. Give her 10% of that money that meet the needs, call back on crime, and there you have it. That's it. So it's just me, it's just my thought in here, my mathematical thought. A lot of us now rich to live in the suburb. In 9 days, the rich are not living in the suburb now. Our rich folks living in Lower Manhattan, and Central Park and so forth. They are living in the midst of chaos. All right? Most of the rich people in New York City live in the midst of chaos. Some of the guys in the penthouses, they can look down and see me podcasting. All right? I won't be surprised right now if Beyonce and Jay-Z can see me up there podcasting down here. They probably be like, oh yeah, I see that guy right there. I see him. Okay. So the rich are in the midst of chaos. Now, if they are in the midst of chaos, why not give 10% or 50%, let's say 10% of what you earn, just to slow down this chaos going on in New York City? Because chaos here. The crime rate here, I'm not saying it's too high, thank God for NYPD, but there are times that we get these outrageous crimes, violent crimes, and when you do a research behind who's doing that, poor people, struggling people. People are irritated, they're angry. Why they're angry? Sometimes it's based on the fact that people cannot work, they're not making decent earning, and again, man, when people cannot afford to make a decent earning, they're gonna do something. And we don't want our citizens, we don't want our streets. Anyway, I don't want to go too far on that. But yeah, Yeah, so tax the rich. Right here, tax the rich. That's what we are in New York City, tax the rich. I'm excited for that. You know what I mean? This is the major play where Trump and I default. And you know what? Trump, I love Trump. I mean, Trump, that's my guy. You know what I mean? But here now we have fallen off in so many different instances. You know what I mean? I can't even count how many times I've criticized President Trump. Yeah. You know, I've even made posts about some of the things that he says and stuff like that. But it's still me being more American than Trump. You know what I mean? And when I say American, I'm looking at the bigger picture than just Trump. You know what I mean? I even said that we should not be in the war in Iran. It was never our business to be in there. But then when I sat back and do the math and calculated that, after saying that, if our allies, our greater allies is in the Middle East, or if our greater allies attacked, we got to get involved because that is our greatest allies. And again, I apologize to Trump for me saying, don't go to war or don't assist Israel because Israel is our greater allies. So yes, that's what we're supposed to do with our greater allies. But there are other things that I've criticized Trump on. I criticized Trump on Mamdani a couple times. I criticized Trump on Biden a couple times. I criticized Trump on so many stuff. You know what I mean? Immigrant comments and stuff. You know, I criticized Trump on that. So I'm a Trump guy, hardcore Trump. But you know, I criticize him on stuff that deserve to be criticized. You know what I mean? So yeah. The Strait is still open. Yeah, well, the Strait, well, you know, let me buttress this a little bit here, right? Now, and if you're Iranian in the chat, I just want to address something before insert what I got to insert, right? If you're Palestinian, from Lebanon, anywhere in the world on this chat, what I'm saying or what I would say is not in any way, any form, trying to demean or undermine life or lives that are being taken. All right? No, I'm always going to stand for life, period. All right? It doesn't matter what race people are. Life is something that should not be taken by anybody because we did not create life. Now, the Strait of Hormuz, it where 20% of the oil supply for the entire universe or the entire world comes through. It flows through. Now, before I drop my point, you guys just hear me out. If 20% of the world depend on that Strait of Hormuz, it means that Iran has no business restricting the flow of ship from going through because 20% of the world depend on that. Now let me just narrow it down so it psychologically sits on our nerves for a minute. Oil is life. Oil is life. It's like blood. It's life. Now, if 20% of the world depend on that, it means that medical facilities in the world depend on the oil to be able to keep those patients that are on high life saving span to stay alive. If Iran blocked that Strait of Hormuz, if those hospitals that people are in, where people's family need to survive, if that stuff is blocked for the next few months or so, it means that people in other countries will be dying more than what is happening in Iran. I just want to kind of drop that part in there to bring that more or less to our more comprehensive understanding. Just blocking that strait in itself is 20% of the oil consumption in the world, period. 20% is a lie. It's a lie. Oil is everything. It's everything. Without oil, countries will not work, will not run. They would not run. Now, with President Trump making that move, and I don't understand why antagonists, critics, hate of Trump, or just hate of the word period, because not only just Trump, took offense when Trump instructed the U.S. Navy, to invade the Strait of Hormuz and block the Iran entrance and open that strait. I don't understand how dare in the world people took offense to that. Took offense to a man, to a leader who's saying, you know what? Nah, you can't block that strait. You just can't. That strait right there is beyond this conflict. There are countries who depend on oil that got nothing to do with what you and I got going on. So we got our issue. Let's not touch that strait. That strait for countries who are peaceful, not involved, don't have any interference, no conflict with you or me, they deserve their oil. Also, if you guys also realize, Iran was taxing ships to pay taxes to pass through that strait. And you guys know that's a global distortion to tax any ship that flows through that strait. Now also again, do you guys know that the strait, Iran planted bombs in our waters? And that water had to be what? Swept by the US Navy to make sure no explosive are there that will blow up any cargo ship that is transporting oil. So, as much as we default with President Trump in so many ways, no country with all the Navy, not the Navy, with all what we call, what we got, the United Nations, what else we got, NATO, no country ever took a stand to open the strait for President Trump. But not only just President Trump, but the US Navy. So when I read comments, how Trump is, he's trying to autonomously rule the world. I mean, he's the leader of the world, right? The leader of the free world right now. He is, and I think that move is a good move. You know what I mean? But let's get to the chat and see what's on the. Oh, look at the comment here. Woo, boy! The comment in the chat here. Smiley, thank you. Trump stand fire needs to be open. That's right. Trump stand fire. Taxes on the rich. Whose back are you trying to ride? Wake up. How about get a job and earn your money? Stop worrying about what other people have. You know what? Let me see that. Smiley J, auto repair. You know what? Smiley face, auto repair. I think I said something before I agreed with taxing the rich. I said back then I was never a big fan of taxing the rich. And I understand what you said. You got an auto repair shop. You work your butt off. You work every day to make the money that you make. You work on cars. That's a job. You know what I mean? You earn every bit of that money. And I agree with you. I've admitted on this live that I'm against taxing the rich. But then again, I said as time went on, when I see how Mamdani broke it down in this city, when he laid it out very clear, and when I look at it, I said it makes sense. It makes sense. Even though the rich work hard for the money, but when you see the needs in the city, you're like, you know what? I mean, it wouldn't hurt, to pay $250,000 a year. As someone who makes more than $5 million, or who have an asset over $5 million, $250 million a year, or not million, $1,000 a year, it's like a throw in the basket. So I understand what you're saying, coming at me, get a job and so forth. I'm not saying tax the rich and just randomly. I have been in agreement or congruent to not taxing the rich. But when you're in the city I'm in, New York City I'm in. I don't know about all the cities you're in. New York City, come on, man. You need to tax the rich. The needs are visible. The needs are real, man. Come on here, guys. Take a trip to New York City. Find me. When you come to New York City, let me know. I'm going to tour you around this city, and you will see the need. Why he, Mamdani, Governor Hochul, tax the rich. All right? Let's be honest, man. So come on, guys. Look. We can't be too greedy now. We can't be too greedy. If you got the money and you got surplus. I mean, how much can you live on? My dad can always say, I got enough. I don't need enough. I'm going to just get the rest of the poor. My dad would donate money every year and man, look, man, I love my dad, man. My dad would just, it came a time when he got to a certain point in time where he knew that we were set. He would just donate his salary every other 3 months. He would donate it to this organization that we used to go to. Just donate it. Come on, man. No, I don't even want to get too, come on, man. Come on. I mean, come on, man. Come on, guys. Come on. You know what I mean? Tax the rich. I don't care what who says. What about the pedophile thing and the the pedophile and the what? Okay. The mega guy wanting to tax the rich. Now, take that hat off and create your own slogan. That is what you are, right? Yeah, you know what? I don't think I'm a content creator. I'm not a content creator. Let me take that back. I'm not a content creator. I think I'm more than a content creator. I think I'm an analyst. I don't create content. I think I analyze content. I hate to say I'm a content creator because when you create something, you just create it. You know what I mean? And it's out there for people to critique and do what they want to do with it. I'm an analyst, so yeah. So I'm not a content creator. I'm an analyst, all right? So being I'm an analyst, I'm able to wear this hat and explain this hat that anyone can understand. So I'm an analyst. So I'm not a content creator. I think I've outgrown that. I'm more of an analyst when it comes to the things that I create. I like to more explain it than just create it. Folks who don't talk a lot create and just post it out there. You see it, you like it. If you don't like it, you leave a comment, and they don't comment on it. But I'm an analyst, so you and I analyzing stuff. I say something, you don't like it, you say it back. You don't like the hat, I love the hat. The hat may make you uncomfortable, but it make me comfortable. I love the man who says make America great. You know what I mean? So come on, I'm an analyst now. Let's see here. Say, he trying to make it make sense in his head. No. I'm not trying to make it make sense in my head. I'm just telling you I'm not a content creator. I'm an analyst. And everything I do, everything I wear, I can analyze that and explain why I wear it and the reason why I'm wearing it. This right here is about making America great. That's it. I mean, you can never convince me making America great is not something that anyone must want. You know what I mean? No, let me show you guys something real quick, right? This is my hat. This is my hat. See right there? This is my hat. All right. That is my hat right there. That is my own hat right there with my initial on that. Come on, man. Come on. Let's move on. Oh, man, you guys, make sure you follow me, all right? Make sure you follow me on that. Hit that like button, follow. What's up, man? What's going on, bud? Yeah, make sure you do that because you guys know I like to keep the conversation interesting. Next week we got a whole bunch of court. Sean Diddy Combs, Weinstein, Mamdani, and so on and more. So follow me. So when I go live, you can get on again and hate on me again. Okay, let's see what I hate again. Let's see what it says. Why would I follow a Trump head? S3NOJ. Because a Trump head, I'm legitimate. I'm real. I'm a real journalist. Why would you not follow me? Not only am I a real journalist, but I'm actually giving you real facts of what is unfolding in real time in there. It means I go in there and get it out and come and talk to you. That's why those who represent or who are Trump supporters, we are legitimate. We are real. Let me use the word not Trump supporter, but those are all who say make America great. We are real because our love for what we do is real. You know, and we don't make stuff up. You know what I mean? Ain't no half-hat with me. You know, I'm not an American, but I believe in making America great. All right? So when I go in and come back, I'm going to give you the real information. So you better follow me now, and, you know, if you want real information, current, up to date, not after, all right? Now, let me see it again. Somebody said, look at that dude. Somebody laughing. What's up, man? When was America great for African American? Woo. Woo, boy. Someone asked me, when was America great for African American? Woo. Man. It's a good question. When was America great for African American? You know what? I don't have an answer for that. When was America great for African American? I can't recall that. But you know what? Let me say something here though. Let me just interject something. Let me just insert something. When you say great, it never happened. It hasn't happened yet. All right, for African American, as you stated. But what have happened, and it is happening, is that it is not as worse as it was then. Am I saying it right now? It's not as worse as it was then. So I think I would say, yeah, for the most part, it's not as bad as it was then. So it's not great though. No, we're not even close to great. But it's not. Someone says it's not as bad. I don't want to use the word "it's not as bad" because it's still bad. But it's not as it was then. Now I can leave that buffered to and let you add what you want to add on there to say it's not bad now, because then that's not true. It is not what it was then. All right. I hope I answered that question. Let me see here again. Let me see the chat again. You guys are killing me with this message in the chat. We all have been equal slaves since 1964. Side beach. But you know what, guys? You know what? I don't really want to. I don't want to get into slavery discussion because they're taking away from here. You know what I mean? I don't want to dive into slavery discussion because that is not its subject. You know what I mean? Everything you guys saying there it makes sense. We all been enslaved. Yes, we all been some way, somehow been enslaved. And one thing I realized, that slavery don't have to be what was experienced in this country, but we all some way, somehow, slavery to addiction, slavery to drugs, slavery to pornography, slavery to alcohol, slavery to workaholic, that's slavery to your own thinking, your own ideal or delusional thinking, slavery to overspending, slavery to not be able to keep a relationship, slavery to being overused and abused, slavery to work, slavery to not even think for yourself, and go on and on. So we all somewhere, somehow a slave to something. You know what I mean? So, I know the overall picture is slavery in America, but when you break that on the lining, we all slave to something. You know what I mean? I hope that answered the question. Your hat enslave you now. No, my hat does not enslave me. As a matter of fact, to be honest, I think I'm one of the most outspoken black men in America. With the hat or without the hat. Nah, never enslaved me. Let me say again. I would never take the hat off my head because I want to see America great again. I am standing to see generation in this country see the greatness of this country. So I am here to perpetuate and accentuate America being great. So I don't care about any idiot who sees this hat and just autonomously just take offense. That means that you don't see beyond the words. See, I'm very wordful. Words are very, very insightful words. I can enter a building, I will read first. I love to read. And I can digest words. Making America great again, you don't gotta sell that to me any more than that. Again, I want my kids to see America better than what it was. You want your kids to see that. You want generation to see that. You want it to be a legacy. Making America great again is a legacy you want people to see and see. We want folks to come to America and not go back. So making America great will be the only way it means to, come on, guys. Look, listen. Look. I don't even want to go and break this thing down because it's like, I can spend hours and hours breaking this down. And it just makes sense. God bless you, sir. Thank you, man. Thank you. It said, don't we utilize an orange man to help build the black man? It sounded like a rap to me. Someone used the orange man to help build the black man. I love it. Somebody who said like a rap to me. Let me shout out who said that. It sounded like a rap to me. Richard Chihin Mock Shift. Don't we utilize the orange man to help build the black man? Love that. That sounds good. Good confidence. Thank you. Rachel Hemeni Mohawk Swift. Thank you. I appreciate you on that. Who else here, man? Taxing the rich would not help the bureaucracy, will eat the money up before it reaches the people that... You know what? Not this guy. I'm saying Mamdani, man, guys. Mamdani. Not this guy. Not the governor that we got. Mamdani is, to be honest, you know, and like I said again, Blasio is my guy, all right? Eric Adams is my guy, all right? Mamdani is a different breed. And what makes him a different breed is a man who understands the struggle. It's almost like me. I'm on the street every day. I'm with the people every day, all right? I understand the struggle. If you put me in position, doesn't matter what position you put me in, my interest become the least on the list. The least on the list. Mamdani is about New Yorkers. Governor Hochul, all about New Yorkers. They are not going to take the money that is generated from taxing the rich to enrich themselves when they came from immigrants. New York City is immigrants. So that guy in there, Mamdani, no. Governor Hochul, no. Even Trump, no. You know what I mean? You know, look. Nah, Mamdani, no. He wants the best for the city. Governor Hochul, the best for the city. And let me say again, when I like people, I don't just like everybody, especially in position. I just don't like everybody in position. I'm very selective, and when I gravitate to you, it got to be something in exchange. So those two, Mamdani, Kathy Hochul, nah. New York is going to be the city is supposed to be. The matter of fact, Governor Hochul is running for re-election as a governor, and I will be here campaigning for her, standing here on the live here when that time is set, because we need her back in the office. We need a better city. We need a rich city. You know, I'm all about wealth. We need a rich city. And these two can do that. Let's move on. Somebody laughed when I said it again. Is that a French flag flying? A French flag? Oh, no. That's thank you for saying that. That's smart. You know what? No, I think that's New York City. No. Those flags right there, I don't think I know what that orange flag. You know what? I'm gonna do a little bit more research and find out what that orange flag is flying over there. Smart. Somebody looking at live and seeing something. I love it. Somebody looking at live and seeing something. All right. Yeah. So, but anyway, guys, that's where we are right now, man. I love you guys. And any more questions, guys? Can let me answer the question in the chat, and then I'll be out. Any more questions, guys? Wear that hat down in the South. You got all the folks waving their hands on the live. Then your boys will change your mind quick. All right, guys. All right. Any more questions? Yeah, those are immigrants. Any more questions, guys? All right, man. I love you guys and God bless, man.